everyone, welcome to the Booknerds Podcast, and we are joined here today by Nikhlesh Mathur. We have hosted various different authors before on this platform, and today we are discussing In the Corridors of the Coaching Capital. Definitely one of the best books I read to finish my 2022. So, hi, sir, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, and thank you for bringing me on this platform.
Pleasure is ours, sir, definitely. Okay, so let me just give a short briefing about you and what this book is about to those who don't know. So, Nikhilesh sir is actually a chemical engineer and he passed out from NIT and he has written both technical books as well as fiction books. So, his first book was actually Learning Chemical Composition, something like that. And after that, he wrote a fiction book called Storm in the Silence. And now this is his latest release. You can get it on Amazon and various different platforms. We'll mention it in the description. So, without much further ado, this book actually combines both the coaching capital vibes as well as spiritual aspects as well as love. There are so many different elements in it. It's about this guy named Raasbihari who every time he touches a Hanuman idol, he can see the future or at least a few snippets of it. And there's a really good love aspect as well. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. So, over to you, sir. Let's start off getting to know you a bit more as a reader. So, as I said, your first book is Learning Chemical Engineering for Process Industries. So, you started with something technical like this and then moved into fantasy and fiction and all that. Which one did you enjoy writing more and what do you enjoy reading more?
Okay, it's a very good question. The first salvo, you have fired the first salvo. Well, I enjoy writing fiction more compared to academic. But paradoxically speaking, I enjoy reading academics more.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
it has to do something with my profile, being a chemical engineer and a management graduate. So I really enjoy reading academics, the technical articles, and all that. But when it comes to writing, I enjoy fiction more. Fiction doesn't have any limits. You need the sky is not the limit. Whereas in technical fields, you already know what you have to write. You have to simply pen it
Yeah,
uh, based
factually.
on what your reader would want to understand, how your readers, how you can express your knowledge. The knowledge is already there. People know about the facts, but then how you express it. But when it comes to fiction, the sky is not the limit. You can write, you can imagine um, anything what you want. So I really
Definitely.
enjoy writing fiction more compared to that.
Awesome. That's amazing, sir. And speaking of which, you actually studied at NIT Roorkela, and you are
Rourkela, yeah.
yes, and you are also an MBA graduate. So this story also follows like this guy who goes to Kota. He's studying engineering there and all that. Is any part of the story connected to your experiences or your life? Be it the
No,
family pressure, the education, the whole atmosphere you have described there. Is anything about you?
no, it's not connected to me. Neither
Okay.
it is connected to any of the event which happened in my life. I mean, my life went on very smoothly. It's not connected. But yes, I belong to Kota. So I
Oh, okay.
have seen, yeah, I've seen these boys and girls who have come for coaching. I have interacted with quite a few of them. So what I felt is that before that, let me tell you, the coaching system in Kota is fantastic. You have
Oh,
fantastic teachers. The system is very good and all that. The only issue is some of the students come there unwillingly, and
without
then
bias.
there is yes, and then there is a pressure of competition, pressure to get into IITs, pressure to get into medical line. So some people they wilt under pressure. They are not able to cope, and that is where the role of the parents become important. So basically, I wrote this book uh, targeting the students, the parents, as well as the teachers as to how a student, what difficulties the students find there, how they have to be tackled. And apart from the education see that is
Right.
already fantastic. You cannot do anything about it. But there are several other aspects apart from the education, apart from the subject matter. So that is very important, and I've tried to put in all those things. I've tried to explain to the students, I've tried to explain to the parents that getting into IITs or getting into medical is important, and it is very good for the status of the person, for the career of of a boy or a girl. But again, it's not very essential. Your life doesn't finishes if you don't enter an IIT and all that. So that is what the story is all about. How to
Yeah,
cope up with the yeah.
definitely. Because I had watched this TV show as well called Kota Factory, and
Yes,
it again it brought into light everything you just mentioned. Like apart from the educational aspect, the children are also growing only now. Their minds are still developing in that state. You kind of have to train them both personally as well as education wise. So it was really interesting to see those aspects as well, because there are mentions of ragging in the story. Sorry, there's a construction site near my house. So
okay.
there are mentions of ragging in the story, and about how Raasbihari has to get a part-time job to balance his financials and all that. There are so many different aspects. So is there any person in your life who you personally dedicate this to? Like, of course, you told me you're dedicating it to so many students and teachers, but anyone personally in your life who you
No,
want this story to
not
impact?
personally. No, not personally.
Okay.
Once again, the book is dedicated to students, parents, and the teachers, all three of them.
Right.
So all three of them have combined to form a platform on this story and to
Right.
create an awareness amongst themselves, amongst the new
Right.
parents, amongst the new students, amongst the teachers who will always keep getting new minds whom they have
Yeah.
to tackle with in the form of the students. So it's a story which is dedicated to all of them, and it's very
Great.
essential. What I believe is that if a student or a parent or a parent who is going to send his child to the coaching and all that,
Yeah.
it will be essential for them to read this book. And if they read this book, they will come to know many aspects of the city. They will come to know about coaching, how to tackle coaching, how to tackle the problems which the students are facing. So all these things is there combined in the book. It's very important for them to know about all these things.
Exactly. It's a very empathetic account. Even I have never faced this pressure of engineering and all that. I am purely into the arts. But looking at
Okay.
all this, I'm able to empathize with my friends as well who had that family pressure, engineering with no passion and all that. So, anyways, moving into the divine aspect, which is what set this book completely on a whole new level for me. Like, how did you decide to bring this divine aspect into the story, and the way you have described how Raspberry can see the future or small snippets of the future every time he touches the idol? Like, how did you plan to bring that element in?
Well, that is a very interesting question from your side. I personally believe that every one of us has got a divine capability
Oh,
to
okay.
understand and realize new aspects of life which we don't know at all under normal circumstances. So what I believe is that if it's like connecting the dots of a jigsaw puzzle, and once you connect the all the dots of a jigsaw puzzle, suddenly the picture becomes very clear.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you are sitting at a particular location, at a particular environment, in a particular environment, suddenly you realize something very new. And I believe that this is an ability which God has given to all of us. Some
Okay.
people realize it very fast, some people don't realize it. So you must have heard about several writers. They say that we sit under on a particular chair in a particular environment, and then only they get the ideas. You must have heard about scientists that they create a certain environment in the laboratory, and then only they come up with ideas. So there are several things. Even people who are artists, like painters or actors and all that, they require a certain environment, and then they suddenly get going with the things. So I
Yeah.
personally believe that every one of us, you, me, everyone, has got that divine ability. The only thing is to realize that. And I have written this aspect in my book to make things more interesting to the story. So I believe
Absolutely.
everyone has it. Yeah, I believe everyone has it. It's only a question of realization.
That's true because I have read some stories with the IIT aspect in it, like even all of Chetan Bhagat's novels about how they go to some college and it's hopeless over there. And some, of course, love stories, some spiritual books, some fantasy books, but everything combined together like this, it's the first time I've read it. So, how did you club all the aspects together? Like, rather than them being three different subjects, how did you club them all together and create such a cohesive story?
Well, there there are three aspects to it. I would believe. How did I club it? See, one of the aspect is my self belief that
Okay.
there is always someone there up who will come to the help of all of us
Yeah.
when we really need it. So
Yeah.
this is one aspect where I believe that uh, it's very important in the life. So that is
Right.
one aspect which helped me in combining all the three factors which you have mentioned. The other important factor is that I have picked the characters from the society. I picked characters
Okay.
directly from the society, gave them common names suiting their personality, and more importantly, I have given them words and actions which they will normally follow under the circumstance which has been depicted in the story. So all this went on, all this, created a very smooth flow when the elements were knitted together in the story. So that is number two reason. And the third reason, which is very important, is that I usually read as I write.
Oh,
I
okay.
usually read as I write a couple of pages and I read it. And perhaps everyone must be doing that. But what I do is that I read it from a different, from the point of view of different people that I know. See,
Okay.
everyone knows several people. So I would just imagine that if person X is reading that, what he or she will feel, what her or his reaction would be. So I imagine, I read it from their perspective, and I use their imaginations rather, without letting them know.
Right.
So all these three factors, I tried to combine to the best of my limited ability and pen it down. So that was it.
Awesome. And you actually mentioned something now which I didn't notice while reading the book. You told me the names of the characters are also related to their personalities and all that. So could you explain, like, be it Raasbihari, Manjri, all that, like, how does it link to their personalities?
Yeah, then again, I tried to observe the characters from the
An
society. For
outside view.
example, yes, for example, the story has a background of Rajasthan.
Yeah.
Kota is Rajasthan. So I tried to pick the name of the police inspector, which generally is there in Rajasthan, the names, the common names, Then there is a very cruel inspector in the story.
Yeah.
I have named as Jatia, So just to give an impact, the reader should immediately realize what kind of a personality the person can be, and
Yeah.
the name provides the personality. I mean, if there is a cruel person and you give him a very soft name like Raju and all that, the readers will not be able to
Really know it.
realize that the person is of that nature. So the naming of a person is very important. Yeah. So there are two
Correct.
friends of Raasbihari. I have named Birgit and Narhari. So these are
Yeah.
names in the Bihar villages.
Oh,
These are
okay.
the names in the Bihar villages. Yeah. So naming a character is very important. You see all the movies which have become very hit. Find that the names of the characters, they suit the personality, and that's very important.
Exactly. That's true.
Another thing is to give them the words and the sentences and the actions which suit their personality.
Yeah.
So all these things combined to create an additional interest. You can add, you can say that it adds gravy to the curry.
Yeah. This is definitely my biggest takeaway from this session because hereafter I'm going to notice the impact of the names in all the books I read because I hadn't paid attention to this before. So thanks for opening my eyes on that. And another
My
thing,
pleasure.
yeah, and another thing I want you to open my eyes on is how you have been using social media, because I went through your website, I saw your Instagram page. How are you using social media and the whole digital medium technology, all that, to like promote your book and put it out there for a wider audience to see?
See, technology is something which is an integral part of our lives now. You
Yeah,
cannot run away from it, and you should not run away from it. Instagram right now is one of the most powerful tools to exhibit your product, any kind of a product. A book is also a product. It's important for people to know that a good product exists.
yeah,
So all these people, all these medias, all these social medias, they help in exhibiting your product, because it is very important. You can write a good book, you can make a good movie, you can make anything very good, but unless and until people realize, unless and until people know where
yeah,
it is available and how it is available, it's not important. I mean, book not become a hit like that. The
yeah.
own people should realize it. So social
That's
media set the ball rolling. More and more people are now buying the copies of this book
definitely.
in the corridors of the coaching capital. And I am happy to say that my publisher, Tree Shade Books, who has been very helpful to me in publishing this book, they are also extremely good. And yes, they are asking for when my next book will come.
Oh, yes, I actually, that was my next question actually, because the story kind of has aspects about what Raspberry is going to do at the end of it. Like, since it has kind of an open ending, it has some ways in which you can interpret a possible outcome. And there's also one aspect about how Raspberry's previous generations as well had this superpower. So when he goes back to his village and his friends are telling him like, oh yes, your uncle or grandfather or someone as well had the same ability to touch an idol and see the future and all that. So those aspects were just touched upon. They were not explored in depth. So could we expect like a sub story or a spin-off novel or a second part or something?
See, the scope for a sub story, according to me, lies more at the end of the story. It's like we call a
Okay,
sequel. I won't reveal the end here. It's a kind of it has a little
definitely. No
suspense. It
spoilers.
has a little suspense. But as you mentioned that yes, there was just a passing hint that Raasbihari experienced. Whatever Raasbihari experienced was not through the family. There was just a passing hint through that.
Yeah.
That a similar thing had happened earlier in his family. Well, I did not want to delve deeper in that thing, and because such references, they establish a connectivity between the readers. And that's important also. The readers must not think that only our hero has the divine abilities and only he can do that. That kind of a feeling the reader should not experience. It was nothing great. It came automatically to Raasbihari, the kind of the effect, the divine effect he felt. And it was something which had happened in his family. So it was just a passing hint to let the readers know that it's not only our hero who has experienced all these things. Someone else has also experienced, and someone else can also experience in future. Even the reader experience it. It's all there.
Which again brings us back to what you said previously. Like, we all have this within us. We just need to realize it at some point.
Real. Yeah, very true.
That's true. That's amazing how you brought that in then. And also, romance is a very important aspect of the story. And your feminism is kind of seen in some parts, because Manjri is such a strong heroine. She's one of the strongest ones I've noticed in any book so far, because like a story about a maths prodigy and he's going to Kota and he has all these powers and he's going to do this. Of course, the full story will revolve around him only, but you have crafted it in such a way that Manjri also has an equal role. She's not just a sexy lampshade standing on the side. She also has some role. She also helps him. She also makes sacrifices. And at the end of the book, she also plays a very pivotal role. So, was this feminism and equal representation intentional, or did it just happen as and when you wrote it?
You cannot say it is intentional, But yes, you're absolutely right. Even as a writer, I am always influenced by the female characters that I imagine.
Right.
So in my first fiction book, The Storm in the Silence, the main protagonist was a young married lady fighting
Okay.
all her might in a manner which only a lady can do. So I personally believe that females have more courage and intensity when it comes to handling complications and hurdles. So in this story, Manjri is the guiding force behind the main protagonist, Raasbihari. You cannot say that it was purely intentional, but yes, it came out automatically in my writing. And I believe it provided a lot of interesting moments in the story as well. I can say again, once again, I can say that it added gravy to the curry.
Gravy.
So it was not intentional. It comes automatically in my writing. I believe that way.
Good, good. That's amazing then, because a lot of people these days, especially since this story has the scope of being entirely hero driven, a lot of people would focus only on him and he is saving the day all the time. So the equal representation was really good on my end.
Manjri was the actual hero, you can say, of this book,
Exactly, yeah.
of this story. But she has remained in the background, and that is what it was important to me
I know it's
when I wrote.
exactly like how even if we take Harry Potter, we are constantly saying like Harry Potter, the boy who lived, but all his friends, all the background characters, all the professors, they are the actual heroes. He is just a confused boy in the middle.
See,
So
you can talk of any movie or any book or any story, unless and until all the characters are given the due
that's
importance,
true.
the story doesn't evolve. You know,
Yeah,
you don't like a movie unless you may have seen many good movies wherein the actors and all that are having just one scene role.
yeah,
But it is an impacting role. It
yeah,
impacts the audience right till the end. So I believe that every single character, you may have a very limited character in your stories. You may have very little characters in the story, like the friends Birgit and Narhari.
yeah.
You know, they had very small role in there, like Manjri's father,
That's true. Yeah,
hardly one page or two more, but the impact was very great. So the impact of what I believe is that the impact of every character should be there in all the pages of the story. Whether you're depicting the character on the same page or not, that's a different thing. You cannot accommodate all the characters on the same page, but there has to be a fragrance of all these characters when you knit
yeah.
the story. That is what is very important.
And I also liked how you had introduced so many characters, but after they played that part, they just didn't leave the book and go off. Like you mentioned Manjri's father, the problem statement from him, and then there was a recall again at the end of the book.
Yeah,
Same with the boys in his hostel, even dragging him. Like it
yeah.
didn't end right there. Like he just left and went somewhere else. They again had a
They have
recall
to
at
be.
the end
They have
again.
to. Yes. See, all the characters stay in the story right till the end,
Yeah,
and that is what makes the story interesting to read.
yeah,
So all the you can find all the characters, even the students, friends, everyone. They are somewhat in
definitely.
some or the other way related to the story right till the last page.
Yeah, they didn't just finish their role and like leave the story focusing again on
Yeah,
the hero and
that
heroine.
that you can say was intentional. Yes, that was intentional.
Perfect, perfect. That was amazing then. And even like all the chapters being really short and each of the different sections you had made for each of the stages of the character arc, everything came together really beautifully. That's why I really loved the book. I finished it in
Thank
a
you.
day, but till today, I'm still carrying the weight of it with me.
Yes,
Okay, so back to my final question actually. What are you working on right now, sir? Like, now that this book is done, what's the next plan? What are your plans for the future after this? How's the promotions for this one going on? What's in the pipeline?
that's $1 million question you have asked. Yeah, that's $1 million question. What will be my next? Sorry, which will be my next book? Well, I have some interesting ideas in both fiction and non-fiction categories.
Please
And,
let me know.
it takes a lot of time for me to write, basically because I'm working in an organization which is one of the best chemical manufacturing group in Asia, Kashyap
Okay.
Sweeteners Limited. Yes, we are making sorbitol and world's best quality. And very recently, I have been promoted to the group's vice president post.
Oh, congrats
So
on
that
that.
has increased, thank you. And that has increased my responsibilities. And now I am at a new place, Mumbai, which is again very new to me. So let me see how I re engineer my time management and come out with my fourth book. But I'll promise that I won't keep everyone waiting for long. Yeah, I'll be at it very soon.
Amazing, sir. And are we going back to non-fiction or sticking to the fiction and fantasy aspects?
There are few ideas which I have been working, and you can say that I've completed about 20-30 books in that. But those are fiction. Those are fiction.
Okay.
See, fiction really, that it makes my adrenaline flow rush like anything.
Awesome.
Yes, I enjoy writing fiction. I enjoy imagining the characters, like how they will feel, how they will react in a particular way. So I really write like fiction writing. But yes, at the back of the mind, I have an idea of writing a book on management, wherein I try to put all the, I mean, I have got vast experience in companies and organizations, manufacturing organizations. So I'll try to bring all my experience in the form of a book. So to let the younger generation know how things are and how things need to be tackled. So yes, I can come out with both fiction and non-fiction, both of them. But yes, of course, next in line will be fiction only.
Awesome, because I also love reading fiction, so I would love to stay tuned for that. Okay,
Definitely.
then. So awesome, sir. So, just my parting question to you: what are you reading right now, and what are some book recommendations? Because since we are a book community, we love hounding our authors with this question. What are they reading right now? What are some books they recommend to our reading community?
Well, your question is very right, but I think you have asked the wrong person of it. I love reading academics.
Oh, that's
Being
okay.
an
You could
being an
help
engineer,
someone now.
yeah, being an engineer, being in an engineering profession, where in a manufacturing company. So academic books and academic articles, research-based articles, doing research in the laboratories, in the pilot plants, in the manufacturing plants.
Oh,
So as of now, I can say that I love reading all those articles and technical books more as of now. So I think yes, your question is right, but you have asked the wrong person.
okay, then, sir. Thank you so much for taking so much time
My
out for
pleasure.
this. Is there any question I missed out which you want to add on right now?
I don't think you missed out any questions. You have covered the entire gamut of writing books and how did I come up with the book and all those things. One thing which I wanted to impress upon all the viewers is that uh, reading is very important for any writer. So
Definitely,
it
definitely.
doesn't matter what you read. It doesn't matter what you read. You may read a newspaper, may read fiction, non-fiction, a management book, an autobiography, whatever. But reading is very, very essential for anyone to even think of writing anything. That's one thing. Other thing is read as you write. That's very important. As I mentioned, as an answer to your earlier question, I always write some pages and then read it from the different perspective. So you can always change your ideas. You can change your writing habits. You can change your narrations by this way. It helps. So reading helps. Reading is very, very important. So that's what I wanted to impress upon all the viewers.
Absolutely. That's very true, sir. Thanks so much for sharing that as well. And
My
thank you
pleasure.
for taking so long, like, for this interview. And I hope, like, you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed, because
I
my...
really enjoyed. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed your questions.
Oh, thank you for
I really
that.
enjoyed your questions.
Thank you for that, sir. And for sure, my key takeaway from this is about the characters which you mentioned. I'll definitely be noticing that the second time I reread this book, as well as for all the other books I read henceforth,
Yeah.
because the way a character's name and their personality itself impacts reading, I never knew that. But now, when I'm recollecting it, I can see it in so many books. So, thank you
Yeah.
for that. And guys, if you found this interesting, it's now available on Amazon and various other platforms. We link it in the description below. Do check it out. And thanks so much for this session. Stay tuned for the next one coming soon.